Oh, bejesus. Oh, bejesus. What a week, hey? What a week. You're probably either really happy with how things have gone.
We Trump, baby! Finally,
Or not happy.
Nazi? Hitler following pieces of trash? No!
I can't do this anymore.
You cannot be serious. How?
My mum downstairs is very not happy. But, legit upset, but, at the same time, she probably watches more Trump stuff than even the biggest Trump fan. I have a suspicion she fancies him. Deep down, I think she's got something going on for Trump. I mean, she would deny that vehemently, but I think there's something about that big, powerful man she likes. Yeah, she claims she's a feminist, but she's a feminist with a fetish for the powerful man. I've had a really fucking amazing week, thanks to you guys. We have sold more Blackout cards over the past 2 or 3 days than I have sold anything in any of the online websites that I've been building for the past 20 years. I thought I could talk about what inspired me to sell things online, because I've been selling online for 20 years now. 20 years of setting up e-commerce websites. And it all started with this. This is called the $1 Million homepage. It's 1 million pixels arranged in a 1,000 by 1,000 pixel grid. The image-based links were sold for $1 per pixel in 10 by 10 blocks. It was created 20 years ago by Alex Chu, who was a student at the time, lives a few miles down the road from us in Wiltshire in England, and apparently he wanted to raise money for his university education, which is obviously the story. He knew that creating something like that had to have a story. That would endear you to him. He's just a student who wants to go to university and wants money for his education. So he always knew about the importance of storytelling when you're creating something. Anyway, you buy the pixels, you could put your own image on it. When you roll over, you can choose what pops up over the display, and they all link to whatever website you wanted them to be linked to. And he sold every single one of those pixels, and he made himself $1 million. As a young man in his early 20s, this was one of the most inspirational things I had ever seen. It inspired me so much that the next day I walked into Guildford High Street. I found a little web design agency called Purple Pear. I knocked on the door and I said to some dude, I said, what do I need to learn to become a web designer? And the guy kindly sat me down and he wrote down a bunch of stuff like HTML and Flash and Dreamweaver and a few programs, Fireworks, all these old school programs. I got the bit of paper and I went into Waterstones and I spent what little money I had to buy a bunch of books, like tons of books on web design and all the stuff he told me I needed to learn. And then I did something that I had never done in my life ever before. I studied day and night. My friends would be calling me, be like, Steph, you coming out tonight? I'd be like, no, I'm studying. I would just stay at home and I would bury my head in these books and I would study. And in the day, I had this super low paid job. I think I was getting paid like $13,000 a year to sell this stone flooring to these rich Surrey homeowners. But the showroom was empty 90% of the time. So I could spend all of that time just learning HTML, learning how design worked, learning ActionScript, all the stuff that you need to learn basically. It was the first time in my whole life that I knew what I wanted to do. And it felt so amazing having purpose. I've got this friend called Jan, and he said to me, Steph, let's set up a little web design company. And I said, sure, why not? What have I got to lose? So we did. We set up a little web design company. We had this idea of creating our own e-commerce website so we could sort of know what we were doing. So we set up our own e-commerce websites. And at the time, Skype was becoming like this thing. So we thought, let's sell Skype phones. So we set up a little e-commerce website selling Skype phones. Boring. All right, chill out, Nigel. Anyway, fast forward 6 months, and my friend and I, Jan, we had a couple of little web design jobs. I quit my job selling stone floors, and I began working part-time as a freelance designer for various agencies around London, which would actually pay me more in a day than I would earn in a week working for that stone floor shop. So things were starting to look up. And basically that's how I got my job at Heat Magazine. I came in initially to help out with the website, and then video was becoming more prevalent. So I was sort of pulled over into that direction. But then I realized I really had no interest in filming celebrities and I wanted to make my own videos. So I left Heat, and Hannah and I created this channel to document our lives as new parents. Boring. Why am I telling you all of this? Because since I first saw that $1 Million homepage, I've been obsessed with creating online businesses. Over the years, I've created tons of them, but the sad fact is 90% of e-commerce businesses fail within the first 120 days. And that's true for pretty much all the sites I've launched. 90% of them flopped and ended up wasting way more money than they were making. But this is where the law of averages come in. If you build 10 and 9 of them flop, that means one of them won't. Plus, each failure will come with a few really important lessons and things to avoid the next time. What dictates your success? It's how many times you choose to get back up again. It's cheesy, but it's true. Do you know one of the saddest things that I've encountered in my life is that there are so many people out there who don't have somebody in their corner telling them to do the thing. Telling them that if they do the thing, that they will be there if they fail to pick them back up, and if they don't fail and if they succeed, you're going to be cheering along with them. It's sad how many people don't have that person there for them. But it's also worth thinking whether you are that person for somebody else. Are you in their corner? Are you encouraging them to do the thing? Telling them that what they need to hear in order to do it? One of the most successful businesses, if not the most successful business I've ever launched, is BlackoutCards. This was born out of just the frustration that I feel at how completely disconnected we've become and how hooked we've become on screens, and how much they're fucking us all up. Look outside, look how zombified we are. People are just completely locked into these things, and it's a big problem. But problems are great. Problems built our infrastructure, our relationships, our cities, our homes. Everything you react with and interact with is a solution to a problem. Problems are opportunities in disguise.
Boring.
So we were on this camper van road trip, and we placed random questions in a little saucepan. Then we take turns drawing them out and answering them. And something shifted. We weren't just passing time, we were learning about each other, we were laughing, we were connecting in a way that we don't often connect in, and the screens were nowhere near us. We weren't even thinking about screens. This simple game cut through all of that noise and brought us back to the basics of human connection. And that's when the light bulb went off. I turned our little game into something that sold to families and couples all over the world. There's a study by the Kaiser Families Foundation in the US that found kids between 8 and 18 spend on average 7 hours a day looking at frickin' screens. It's fucking us up physically, mentally, socially. It's a huge problem, and this little card game is a small solution to that problem. But it only ever manifested because of two things. Well, firstly, the website that I saw, the $1 Million homepage, and secondly, because of 4 words, a 4-word method that's turned every single idea into a reality. And that, boys and girls, is the JFDI method. Just fucking do it. Don't overthink it. Don't procrastinate. Don't tell everyone you're going to do it. Just do the fucking thing. And don't listen to resistance, internal or external. If it fails, so fucking what? You're not dead, are you? And you've learned something. Get back up. Try again. The second thing that usually stomps on your dreams will be when you do your market research and you find somebody else is already doing it. Because I assure you, no matter how niche you think your thing is, I can tell you now, somebody will be doing it. There are 8 billion minds in the world right now, all frantically figuring out ways how to make money. So if you have an idea, the chances are somebody's already done it before you. Don't let that put you off. You just need to have your own angle, put your own spin on it. So in this video, I thought it'd be a good idea to break down 20 years worth of mostly flops and a few wins, in case any of you have an idea that maybe might need some inspiration, or maybe you need somebody to reframe some of the thinking that's holding you back from doing it. Because little online businesses like this, if they take off, they can give you something really important, and that's freedom. It was only a few months ago that the Blackout cards idea was just a few electrical impulses in my skull, and now it's a business selling worldwide. When I JFDI'd those little neurological impulses, I manifested something which is on track in the first year to make 100,000. And for us, it was a really bad time to launch it, because we tried to launch something before called Glow State. It failed really badly. It cost us so much money. We were like, what do we do? But I knew that I just had to get back up again. I remember saying to Hannah, like, I've just ordered a bunch of stock. She's like, what are you doing? Why we can't do this again? And I'm like, I just knew I had to get back up. Anyway, yeah, let's unpack 20 years worth of failures with a couple of wins, in case anything in there can give you the kick up the bum you need.
Boring.
Would you just fuck off, Nigel? The story. The $1 Million homepage story was that this kid was just trying to save up some money for his university degree. He knew the importance of storytelling in a business. Our first site that we launched, that e-commerce site, iVoip, all those years ago, the story for us was the fact that these big corporations like BT were ripping everyone off, getting rich off these massive phone bills that they throw at you. But if you use one of our Skype phones, then you could make free worldwide calls and stop being ripped off by BT. I mean, who doesn't want to stop getting ripped off? Some of you may remember a website called Mags London that we launched. The story there was Hannah was frustrated at not finding the perfect makeup bag, so decided to create these beautiful handmade makeup bags using Liberty London fabric.
And I just couldn't find anything really like that out there in the shops.
It's not much of a story, but seeing Hannah choose the fabrics and then watching us pick up the bags from our seamstress in Soho on my Vespa it's not how good the story is, it's how well you tell it. The story will really help you to find your path. Even if you think you don't have one, you will. Everything that you've done and said and experienced right up till now has resulted in you being where you are and making a decision. So something within that narrative is what made you take the leap. It's there, you just need to find it. As soon as you have your story, then you start to define your mission statement. Our mission at Blackout Cards is simple. It's to create these screen-free moments that strengthen bonds between families and couples. And as content creators, we've been part of this digital world / problem for, over 10 years. So we understand both the irony and the challenge here. So our mission was to kind of create something that counters all of this screen time that consumes so much of our lives. Always see making money as a benefit that comes as a reward for realizing your vision. Some of you may not have the skill sets to realize your vision, but there are so many platforms out there full of people who can help you. You've got like People Per Hour, Fiverr, but just be sure if you do find a freelancer, check all their reviews. Make sure you factor in a few rounds of amends, do lots of research before you commit to anything, get samples if you can. For example, I had to pay like 400 quid for this prototype for the Blackout cards, which I ended up making so many changes to it before we got to this version. I mean, the logo was lost and stuff like that on the original. There's so many things that I wouldn't have seen unless I had have got the prototype made. So always get a prototype if you can. I personally use Shopify. I think they have like a 30-day free trial as well if you want to set one up. I just find it so easy to use. There's loads of plugins that you can use and themes and templates. It's so easy. This, I think, is the most important lesson that I have learnt in 20 years. Not everything is going to go smoothly. You will get fuck-ups. Like, I made one with the Blackout cards. I cocked up with our first batch of the couples edition cards. There was a duplicate in there, which I didn't pick up on. But mistakes are also opportunities. Heinz ketchup used to be sold in these glass bottles, but there was a massive design flaw. Like, when you went to put your sauce, pour your sauce out, it would take freaking ages to come out the bottle. What did they do? They turned that into like a quirky feature. They made adverts about how long it took to come out the bottle. Cocoa Pops did something similar. The Cocoa Pops would turn the milk brown. What did they do? They lent into it. They made it into a feature. Guinness takes freaking ages before your pint's ready. You have to wait for the Guinness to go like completely black. What did they do? They came out with a slogan, everything, the best things come to those who wait. They made adverts about it. They turned it again into a feature.
Boring.
It's not,
Boring.
Nigel. Anyway, so I turned this duplicate card cock up into a marketing opportunity. I openly shared the mistake and then I gave everyone a massive discount. I'll give you one more example. Okay, so to keep our costs low for our customers, I don't ship the products into the UK and then pay some expensive fulfillment center to send them out globally. I'll send them straight out from source, and this means that they can take between 7 to 10 days to arrive, which I obviously explain on the website. But Tracy wasn't happy about this and gave me a 1-star review, and 1-star reviews to small businesses can be really damaging. So what did I do? I turned it into an advert. So yeah, fuck-ups are always going to happen, but I think it's really important to reframe them and to try and see how you can use the potency of something like a fuck-up against itself. Because there is a way, you just got to figure it out. It's all like a jigsaw puzzle. Anyway, I just wanted to explain how a website I encountered 20 years ago brought me right here. There's so much I could go into when it comes to the nuts and bolts of all this stuff, but I just wanted to create a video where I kind of really just gave you an overview of the mindset or the thinking behind creating an online business, and hopefully there might be a couple of you out there who just need a push to do it. If you have an idea, then establish your story, establish your mission, be prepared to fail, but most importantly, JFDI.
Boring. Boring.
Hopefully it'll be more interesting next week. Thanks for watching. Bye, guys.